thereabouts. And we will likely be working as a subcommittee for a good portion of the day. At the earliest moment that we can establish a quorum, we'll interrupt whatever's going on to do that, because that might be a challenge with all the other committees that are operating. So we will start as a subcommittee. I want to make a few announcements regarding the hearing. We started off with 52 bills to be heard today. We have a few on consent. We have a few that have been pulled, but basically we're going to start now. We're going to take a break around noon and leave this room and continue our hearing at 1:30 in room 112, which is right across the way, and we're going to start at that time with a time certain on AB 2844, followed immediately by the state bar bills dues bill, which number I'm 2878, and after that we'll continue with the process. We do go in file order to the extent possible, and after or aside from those two bills, the rest of the calendar for today will be in file order. We have 3 items that have been pulled at the author's request, so if you're here on the following 3 items, unless you just want to enjoy a lovely morning with us, they're file item 13, AB 1743 by DeBobne, that's been pulled. Item 18, AB 1799 by Assemblymember Mays, that has been pulled. And item 24, AB 2080 by Assemblymember Gallagher has been pulled, so we will not be hearing those items today. One item did not make it out of its first policy committee yesterday and will not be heard today. That is file item 47, AB 2823 by Assemblymember Gatto. So we will not be hearing that either. We also have 10 items on the proposed consent calendar. Those are item 6, AB 1570, item 8, AB 1682 with amendments, item 12, AB 1723 with amendments, item 16, AB 1788, item 25, AB 2085, item 26, AB 2119 with amendments, item 34, AB 2387, item 36, AB 2458, item 38, AB 2609, and item 50, ACR 95. So if you're here on any of those, it is not our intention to hear testimony on those today. They are on the consent calendar. And hopefully when we get a quorum, we can resolve those issues quickly. But in the meantime, we are going to turn to today's agenda, again in file order. And the way we are going to operate today, hopefully with very little exception, is that we have the presentation by the author. We have 2 witnesses, 2 main witnesses, 2 minutes each to support, and similarly 2 main witnesses, 2 minutes each for opposition. Those who follow the 2 witnesses will be asked to come to the microphone, give their name, affiliation, and indicate whether they support or oppose the bill in the order that is presented. So we're going to turn to our agenda at the moment, and we have with us on file item 2, AB 459 by Assemblymember Daley. And we'll start with that measure. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll start off by thanking you and your committee staff for working with my group on this issue. With the support of the chair and the help of the committee staff, I will be accepting the committee amendments with 1 modification. I would offer a modification of Amendment 3 in the analysis. Instead of inserting "or the original owner," I propose inserting, in quotes, "or relative of the insured" on page 2, line 22 of the bill. This has been discussed with the committee consultant. This modification of Amendment 3 requires further discussion. And if the bill passes this committee today, I will have the bill placed on the inactive file until we reach an agreement with the committee on final language.
Very
If we
good.
cannot reach agreement, I will not take it up on the Senate floor.
I appreciate that, and I hope we can resolve that. I know that we've been working hard
Thank you.
and resolve most of this, and I appreciate your willingness to proceed in that fashion.
And I appreciate your cooperation.
Very good. And with that, would you like to make a quick presentation? There is no opposition, so it can be very brief, but if you wouldn't mind just articulating very quickly what this bill does.
Scott Ward, representing the Fortress Investment Group, is here to speak in support of the bill. And Paul here from the Assembly Insurance Committee staff is also a technical, has the technical background.
All right, very good. So do we have witnesses in support? Yep. Either way.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. My name is Scott Ward. I am with Orrick, Carrington, and Sutcliffe here today on behalf of the Fortress Investment Group. First, I'd like to echo the Assemblyman's comments that we greatly appreciate the thoughtful analysis that you and your committee has done on this bill and the amendments that you suggested. We are committed to continuing to work with you and welcome the process that the Assemblyman has set out for us to move forward from today. Real briefly, in response to your request, what the bill does, it deals with life settlements, and it provides a very short one-year window for the industry to, at its core, ferret out policies that may be void that were issued prior to 2010. The state passed a law in 2010 which takes care of this issue moving forward, but there's still potentially a discrete number of policies on the books that may be void, and this provides, in a compromise between the investment community, who I represent, and the insurance community, a way to ferret that out.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And obviously in support. Any other witnesses in support?
Brad Winger, representing the Association of California Life and Health Insurance Companies, and we agree with the prior witness that this offers the hope of resolving some past litigation. Thank you to the committee staff, and we'll continue working on the language.
Very good. Much appreciated. Any other witnesses in support? We have note of no opposition. Is there any opposition present? With that, I assume that the Assembly member is asking for an aye vote with
Yes, I
that
am.
understanding, and when we get a quorum, we will take up the measure.
Thank you very much. Thanks again to the chair and the senator.
Thanks
Thank
for your good work on this as well. All right, we have file number. All right, Assembly Member Chow is next in file order. Good morning.
Good morning.
And this is AB 587, file item 3.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and the Senators. Mobile homes are regularly sold on an informal basis. They are titled through the Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD. In order to issue a new certificate of title in a buyer's name, HCD must confirm that there's no outstanding fees or taxes owed on the home. Otherwise, or if the new owner is unable to pay, title cannot transfer. A buyer may be unaware of this requirement and, as a result, is in a situation where they pay for their home but have no meaningful proof of ownership. So, unpaid taxes and fees continue to accumulate on the mobile home because state and county records are outdated and the proper party is not being billed. This exposes the new owner to potentially thousands of dollars in taxes and penalties, and it also puts a cloud on the homeowner's title. Without proper title, the homeowner cannot transfer the home or get repairs made, or may even face eviction. AB 587 would establish a temporary tax abatement program to give homeowners the opportunity to bring title into their own names without having to pay certain outstanding amounts owing, including delinquencies incurred by previous owners. Tax delinquencies by prior owners would not be forgiven under the abatement program. The current owner just wouldn't be required to pay somebody else's debt. I have my sponsors here to testify in support of the bill.
Good morning. 2 minutes, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Brian Augusta on behalf of the California Rural Legal Assistance Foundation, one of the co-sponsors of this measure. Our goal in in this bill is to create a path for homeowners who are currently trapped in a cycle where they can't get title to their home into their name, to create a system for them to do that and to provide some protections for them during the amnesty period to ensure that they are not evicted or dispossessed of their home. We think this will help get folks sort of out of the shadows and give them an opportunity to come current on title, to be able to pay taxes going forward, and to have clear ownership of their home, which not only protects their ownership interest in the home, but also their ability to have repairs made and other important things that are required or prerequisite to having title. We hope to continue to work with all the stakeholders going forward to fix the broken system, but for now what we've achieved, I think, is an ability for those homeowners to protect their interest in their home. We struck a balance. We have worked with the park owners to get them neutral on the bill, and I think we've got a good balance here, so we would urge an aye vote.
Thank you very much. Other witnesses in support? 2 minutes, please.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Diane McPherson, and I live in a mobile home in Santa Rosa. I'm also a board member of Golden State Manufactured Homeowners League, GSML, which represents thousands of seniors, veterans, immigrants, and individuals living and owning mobile homes throughout our state. I wanted to declare that this bill is not an amnesty. This implies a free ride or a forgiveness of taxes. Rather, this bill is a win-win. It's a win for mobile home residents who are trying to transfer titles into their name, and it's a win for the state and counties who can now update their records so that taxes and fees owed can be collected from the proper individuals. As seniors on fixed incomes living in a mobile home, AB 587 honors 3 basic principles: a home we can afford, the dignity it represents, and living in a community we can call our own. And for many of our GSMOL immigrant residents, it will be the first opportunity they have to own a home. It is devastating when we discover that the title cannot be transferred, especially if you've already paid off your home. So I want to thank you and ask GSMOL asks for an aye vote.
Any other witnesses in support?
My name is Kitty Wallace, and I live in a manufactured home, and I support this bill and hope you will too.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Any other witnesses in support? Any witnesses in opposition?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Karen Lang on behalf of the California Association of County Treasurers and Tax Collectors. We had been trying to work with the author and sponsors for the last year on some amendments and were informed yesterday that they would not be included in the bill. We had been asking for the 10% penalty that accrues from the day you go delinquent to be included as part of the payments that would be made to become current, because as you know, work is done when someone goes delinquent. We'd also asked to limit the amnesty window to 2 years, because that is basically what all amnesty programs look like. And we also had asked for, going forward, some improvement to the system, because what this bill does is open a window for folks that are in this situation right now, and it closes it again and doesn't make any improvements long-term to how HCD and local government interacts when it comes to these homes. So it doesn't, we're giving away county money without making any improvements, and that just feels like a giveaway to our folks who have spent a lot of money trying to track these folks down. We agree that there's a problem. These are a tricky group of homeowners to get into compliance, because some are registered with HCD, some are registered with local government. The bill does nothing to fix that. It just gives away county money. It's not even our money to give away. This is the tax entities, this is schools, this is cities, this is special districts, and none of those folks are at the table saying it's okay to give away their money. So we have concerns. We used to be opposed unless amended. We are now just a straight opposed, because we're not getting any of the things we're asking for. We thank you for your consideration today and ask for a no vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lang.
Mr. Chairman and members, Paul Smith with the Rural Counties Association. I think my colleague Karen Lang said it best. I'll just reiterate, we are not opposed to some type of amnesty program. It's just this amnesty program and the way this bill is structured, we just believe that this is a bit too much in terms of the length of the window, the scheme of collecting. We have grave concerns about trying to get the previous owner's tax obligation recovered. I know the sponsors feel very strongly that that's an option. We just don't see that as a viable option to collect those taxes that are owed. I just think this is a little bit overreach in terms of how we approach an amnesty program, and we would ask for a no vote.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Good morning. Dorothy Holzen with the California State Association of Counties, respectfully opposed as well for the reasons previously stated by my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Molden. Any other witnesses in opposition? Assemblyman Chow, you're going after my peeps.
Let me briefly address some of the concerns raised by opposition. With respect to the three-year versus two-year window, I think that, after a discussion with all the stakeholders, we feel that a three-year window is more adequate for us to incentivize people to come out and so that they could address the issue. And now, I think for us to incentivize these folks, I think we need to grant some kind of tax relief. I think it's been mentioned that the 10%, should be the only thing that we waive. But I think in order for us to incentivize these folks to come forward, I think we need to give them a little more incentive to do so. Now, there was another issue regarding the giving away money. These are delinquent taxes that's been owed, for a long time. And in fact, much of it is uncollectible. And because in many situations, these homes have been either abandoned or, the owner have already moved out of the premises. So these are not really collectible funds to begin with. And let me also reiterate the fact that we are not waiving any of the delinquent taxes owed by previous owners. So these delinquent taxes are still collectible. So the counties are free to pursue these delinquent taxes as they so wish. So we're just talking about the current owner who wants to, actually have their title transfer. So we're trying to incentivize these folks to come forward so that they could do the title transfer properly.
Senator Monning, any questions? Great. Was that your closing remarks, or would you like to close?
Oh, I respectfully ask for it.
All right, thank you, Assemblyman Chow. We'll wait till we get a quorum, and then we'll vote. So thank you for coming.
Great. Thank you much, Senators.
No, we're gonna let Assemblyman Gordon just hang since I'm chairing, for at least an hour or two. See, he's comfortable with that. See that? Assemblyman Gordon, you have the floor. Now that I'm chair, I get to play a little bit. We're on Assembly Bill 287, Item 1.
Thank you. When I decided to wade into recall policy in December of 2014, the automobile industry and consumers were facing an unprecedented and unanticipated spike in the number of vehicles subject to recall. 2014, nearly 64 million vehicles in the U.S. were recalled. There are many questions about what happened and how consumers, dealers, rental car companies, manufacturers, and the government would respond. It was hoped at the time that 2014 was an anomaly. But in 2015, another 51 million vehicles were subject to recall. And on May 4th of this year, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration announced that in addition to the nearly 30 million Takata airbags previously subject to recall, another 35 to 40 million will need to be repaired. We've reached a point where nearly 1 in every 4 cars on the road today is under some form of recall. In response, in its current form, AB 287 was designed to address 4 distinct issues related to recalls and ensure that car dealers, rental car companies, manufacturers, and the government all have skin in the game to enhance consumer protection. Today, I am taking one of those 4 issues off the table. I intend to remove the provisions related to the advertising and sale of certified vehicles from this bill. Let me take a minute to walk you through what will remain in AB 287. First, there's a loophole in federal law on rental and loaner cars In December of 2015, Congress passed the 5-year transportation funding measure that included a provision that prohibits a rental car company or car dealer with 35 or more vehicles available for rental or loan from renting or loaning a vehicle with unrepaired manufacturer recall. AB 287 would close the fewer than 35 vehicle loophole and prohibit a rental car company or car dealer from renting or loaning any vehicle with an unrepaired manufacturer recall. I've been discussing with rental car companies how the language could be better aligned with federal law and committed in the Senate Transportation Committee to bring violations under an existing law which allows DMV to sanction a dealer's license. Second, the bill will continue to have issues related to government responsibility to notify consumers. AB 287 would direct the DMV to establish a means to notify owners of vehicles at the time of their annual registration that there is a recall on their vehicle and how to get it repaired. This requirement would be conditioned upon a determination that the department has access to the necessary data and funds to implement. Third, and finally, manufacturers should have responsibility for proper disposal of hazardous recalled parts. For recall work, the manufacturer reimburses the repairing dealer for the necessary new part and for the cost of labor to make the repair. However, if the recall repair includes removal of a part that is considered hazardous material, the dealer is responsible for that expense. AB 287 would require that the automobile manufacturer take financial responsibility for the additional expense of hazardous material in repairing recalled vehicles. Senators, I'll be the first to acknowledge that this bill does not resolve all recall-related issues. However, I believe the approach taken in AB 287 represents what is achievable today, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and members, Mike Belout for the California New Car Dealers Association. Very briefly, because Mr. Gordon has really covered the bill, the history of the bill. It really has been quite a saga for almost 2 years now, attempting to respond to stakeholders from used car dealers, manufacturers, rental car agencies, the Consumers for Auto Reliability and Safety, the Plaintiffs' Bar. We have now arrived at a place where we have 3 elements. We think it makes an improvement in the law. It does subject car dealers to the renting and loaning prohibitions that are consistent with federal law. The long term, this issue of DMV involvement, I think, is quite important. The best way to notify owners of cars that their car has an unrepaired recall is through DMV. DMV has the best information about who presently owns the car. After the dealer sells it, the dealer and manufacturer lose track of the car. So long term, we think that DMV has a real role to play, but there is going to be a roll-up period and some funding issues. So we think that too makes an improvement in the law. We're pleased to have worked with all the stakeholder groups and your very fine consultant who has worked very, very hard on this, and we would ask for an aye vote.
Thank you very much. Next witness, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. John Moffat on behalf of Enterprise Holdings, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We're here to support this in concept. We appreciate the analysis pointing out the issues raised by the American Car Rental Association regarding consistency in the law and making sure that there's a clear bifurcation that this law applies to close the loophole that the Assemblyman mentioned. You know, as the chair recognized in her SB 686, having that one federal standard for rental cars that move across state lines is the right approach. We were successful with many of the advocates here today getting that through Congress, and so now we just need to make sure that we close that loophole, and we look forward to working with the committee and the author to get that one last final amendment in the bill.
Great. Thank you very much. Other witnesses in support, please step forward with name and affiliation only, and obviously in support of the bill.
Madam Chair and members, Ivan Altamura on behalf of Global Automakers in support.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support? Are there witnesses in opposition to the bill? Witnesses in opposition? Are there witnesses in strong neutrality who'd like to step forward? No? All right. I want to thank you for this bill. You and I have been working on this for a couple years. Very consistent with legislation that I have been actively involved in for the last several years as well, and appreciate the hard work and effort. I would have to join. This is 3/4 of the pie. We still have that other quarter to deal with. It's my hope that we'll end up with something that's consistent with the law and when it comes to rental cars. And I know that sadly that will be after your time, but for those of us who hopefully will continue to be here, that it's something we can continue to work on. And I think this is really a masterful effort in an issue that, frankly, still befuddles me that it's been such hard work because we're talking about the safety of the public. And there's nothing more important than we do here, that we do in this legislature, than try to protect public safety. With that, when the bill does, when we do get a quorum, and we have them. I thought Senator Monning was leaving so quickly. Let's establish a quorum, and then Senator Morlock, if you have a question, that would be wonderful. But let's establish our quorum.
Jackson?
Here.
Jackson here. Morlock?
Present.
Morlock here. Anderson? Here. Anderson here. Hertzberg? Leno? Monning? Here. Monning here. Wachowski?
Excellent. We have a quorum. A quorum is present. And Senator Morlock, if you would like to go ahead if you have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one quick question. Assemblyman Gordon, I didn't get a chance to look, but does the DMV on their website, does it allow you to key in a vehicle license or a vehicle identification number and then the information pops up for you?
Senator Morlock, that information is available to consumers or anyone through the NHTSA site, safercars.gov, a federal site, into which manufacturers pour data.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So we did establish a quorum. The chair will entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
All right, there is a motion. Let us call the roll, and we'll leave it open, obviously, for those who are not present.
Okay. The motion is
Go ahead.
due pass as amended to Senate Appropriations. Jackson?
Aye.
Jackson, aye. Morlock?
Aye.
Morlock, aye. Anderson? Hertzberg? Leno? Monning? Wachowski?
All right, that vote has, that bill has 2 votes. Again, thank you very much. Much appreciated for your effort in this matter. And then we also have file item 2446, which is yours as well. So let's go to that item right now. That is file item 35.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. This is Assembly Bill 2446 regarding the Water Board. Unfortunately, some provisions of current law have resulted in the state and regional water boards having to expend limited resources to defend against lawsuits brought without merit or for the purpose of delay. Most significantly, some dischargers have used the Water Code to impede or delay hearings on proposed pollution control actions by going to court before the State Water Board or Regional Board has actually taken an action. In the most egregious incident involving a chlorate plume in Rialto, it took years of litigation before the Water Board could do its job. In response, AB 2446 would not prohibit a party from filing suit over an action taken by the water boards, but it would prevent suits to preemptively stop the water boards from protecting our water. This change is central to ensuring that the water boards are able to meet their charge of protecting our water and environment. Secondly, the bill would provide for issuance of stays for an action taken by the State Water Board's own staff. This includes consideration for federal relicensing of hydroelectric projects. The language of this bill includes time limits on the length of time the board may issue a stay. Time limits that reflect a balance between what water and agricultural parties were seeking and what is practical for the water board. Third, the bill would make clarifications to evidentiary standards. It would make clear that the court shall use its independent judgment in evaluating water board actions, a standard that is arguably less deferential than a standard that is often used for review of administrative decisions. It would also make clear that the water board, on behalf of people of the state of California, need not show irreparable damage in seeking a temporary restraining order, preliminary injunction, or permanent injunction. And finally, the bill also specifies a standard of review if the water board fails to comply with the negotiated stay provision. In conclusion, The bill would align review standards for drinking water law with water quality law in response to the transition of drinking water responsibility from public health to the Water Board. I would respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you very much. Witnesses in support.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Phil Wiles with the State Water Resources Control Board. Assemblymember Gordon just described the bill very well. We think these are very modest but important clarifications and improvements with respect to both administrative review and judicial review of our water pollution jurisdictional issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support? Witnesses in support. Are there any witnesses in opposition? Witnesses in opposition? Seeing and hearing none, any questions from the dais? All right, well, obviously, if you want to close with anything more than an aye vote, it's your prerogative.
Ask for an aye vote.
Very good. All right, is there a motion? All right, we'll wait until we have more members and move the bill at that time. Thank you very much. One other item, I believe, Assemblymember Gordon, is file item 2688, which is